art show, Wedding Dervish Dance by Malika Leon, you may know, some of you may know. She was working at KU. And we will also give some awards to State Rep and Dole Institute, not Dole, what is it called? Not Dole, the other. I think, yeah, Dole Institute. She worked for Dole Institute, Barbara Ballard. Jeremy Farmer, director of Food Bank, plus Vice Mayor, Danny Anderson, Mike Gunn, and Greg Moore. And what I want to show you here is the co-sponsors. There's a great number of groups, as you see here, including Jewish Community Center, Unity Church, like ECM, Westside, First United, and a lot of different churches, and our host committee. Actually, we can add a lot of more host committee members, but there's not too much space. Just to give you an idea who supports us, and yeah. And this semester, we started Interfaith Academy sessions. As I said, we choose a topic and have 3 speakers usually that represent Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. And say once the topic was fasting or respecting elderly people, or giving stewardship in these traditions. In the earlier semesters, we had those events under the name of Dinner of Abrahamic Traditions. It's the same format, but we used to have just like 2 events a semester, but now it's almost, say, 11 events a semester. And one of the panel discussion we had, as you see, the contributions of women academicians to multicultural societies. And we have a speaker from Turkey. We had another event on Sufism, which a lot of people are interested in. And similar events going on. Also, if you have questions, you can just jump in. Otherwise, I can continue. And Dialog Institute of the Southwest has branches in 17 different cities. Actually, we are active in nationwide. With just this name, Dialog Institute of the Southwest, we are active in Southwest and Midwest in 17 different cities. But say in California, we have an organization called Peace Island Institute. We have Niagara Foundation, the New York region, and we have also Rumi Forum. So under different names, but we are almost active in every state in the United States. And we believe in the necessity of dialogue among the members of different faiths. So the purpose is to create peace islands instead of fear islands. Because once you don't know each other, it's very easy to make prejudices or just lack of understanding. It's not always prejudice, but just lack of understanding or just ignorance. I've been reading very great news, but it may not be reflected in some of the local media or here in the media. For example, one of the recent news that I read, there was I think it's Republican, what is it called? Republican African. There is a very kind of fight between people in that African country. I think it's called Republican something in Africa. It's not South Africa, but it's in the middle. And there was
Republic of Congo.
not the Congo actually. No, it's
Central African.
yes.
Okay, Central Africa.
Yeah, Central Africa. So the media shows there is a fight between Christians and Muslims there. But I don't know if you read also the news that there's a Catholic pastor who opened their church to Muslim people. So that shows dialogue, but that might not be always on the media. Another thing that I noticed last year during Ramadan, that in Iraq, you don't really hear many good news about Iraq. But what was interesting to me, In Iraq, there was a village where mainly Christians live. And during the time of the Ramadan fasting, there was a church also. The Christian pastor fast for 30 days, but just to respect. He is not Muslim, but just to respect to his Muslim neighbors. And the restaurants, which belongs to the Christians, they did not open the restaurants during the day. Again, just to show their respect. And another news from New York and DC area, and I'm reading this news on Turkish media, by the way. It was not here. That was during, again, Ramadan. The American families invited their Turkish friends to fast-breaking dinners in their home. So American people were the hosts, not guests. They were the hosts. But unfortunately, that was not on the media, I guess. I don't know if you remember watching it, but I didn't hear about it. So that's, the way I think we can, develop, friendship and understanding here in our community. As I said, the opinion leader of our movement is called Fethullah Gülen. You can just type his name and so this is fgulen.com/en. If you would like to, later on wanna check that website. Fethullah Gülen is he's likened to Martin Luther King or Mother Teresa in his ideas. He's a person of love, and he's coming from a Sufi background. And he says our title should be just human being. And if our title is human being, and if our identity is based on being a human being, then we'll just get along better. Then if we just focus on the differences, then it may be source of conflict. And another thing he said is try to be perfect, but do not expect others to be perfect. So, and be the judge for yourself and be the attorney for others. That's one of my favorite ones. Because when we start judging ourselves instead of others, then we may not have time to judge others.
While you were speaking, I thought of a book, I'm Okay, You're Okay, and its author claimed that the main human game that we play, almost from birth, is mine is better than yours.
Yeah.
And then in my higher scholarship, I learned maybe the heart of the problem is how you consider your ego. And many of the world's great religions have different formulas for how you are to relate to your ego and what you do with it. Some even, there's a phrase by Martin Luther, when God wills what God wills to heal, he first reduces to nothing. So maybe we need to find a way to get our egos out of the way. And I don't know, do you know in your group, does anyone approach it in that manner?
That's a good question. Actually, it may not make sense in English at first, but I can explain later. Fethullah Gülen says, when they ask you your name, just say nothing.
Just say nothing.
Yes,
Yeah.
like my name is nothing. Even like your name kind of imply a title. Say like there's a famous professor at KU, so that is also kind of a title. You don't have to say like doctor something, but his
Yeah.
name is already a title to you. And also, he also says, write a book, but do not put your signature under it. So, like, do good deeds, but do not show off. Because if God knows it, that's more than enough. And that is the actually, I think, the way that we approach, instead of like kind of training our ego, getting rid of our self-ego is not very easy. And but one of the teachings of our faith is also, actually one of the saying, don't praise your friend in a community. Praising your friend in the community is like breaking his neck. I don't know if it makes sense. So you are actually kind of giving, actually damaging him, like hurting him by praising him in the community. I mean, if you want to praise him, just praise him when you are one-on-one, but not in front of other people, so that he may not have very high self-ego. So that is the way we approach. It's always the humbleness, and say like when you do a charity, well, there are like obligatory charity in the faith, and also just voluntary charity. So the obligatory charity is encouraged to share with others, so that you can support the other members of your community. But the volunteer ones, you shouldn't let other people know about it. So that is the approach we take, I guess.
Thank you. Is this the same organization that is building some schools in Texas and helping to send American teachers to Turkey as well? Is that part of it?
Those teachers have like, how can I say, they have like sympathy on our organization, but it's not like formally connected.
I see.
Yeah.
How is the government in Turkey? Erdogan has been very controversial this past summer. How does he regard the institute or some of the affiliates?
Actually, that's a great question. I don't know if you are familiar with like our prime minister, like Turkish prime minister, or what's going on in Turkey recently. You may heard of there is bribery, like a lot of, including Turkey prime minister, a lot of ministers are involved in bribery and corruption. That's a great question. Until like 4 months ago, actually until December 17th is a big day in Turkish history. December 17th is the day when the police officers, collected a lot of evidences that Prime Minister, his son, his ministers are involved in bribery and corruption. That was also in US media, okay? And, but say like, if Obama is accused of bribery and corruption, and if he says, I didn't steal anything, what would he do? He would go to court, and then if he was not guilty, then the court would prove, right, that he was not guilty. But in Turkey, the prime minister did vice versa. He moved 13,000 police officers around Turkey. Can you believe that? The judges and prosecutors. So he just moved around those people. And like he assigned different judges. Like he even changed one judge's place for 6 times. So like they give the files and say, okay, review this and prove that we are not guilty. But the judge says, no, you are guilty. Those files say you are guilty. And then he changed them over and over. And then until 4 months ago, so that's the just brief story, and he shut down Twitter and YouTube. Maybe you have heard of that. But you wonder why somebody wants to shut down Twitter and YouTube. If you don't, if you are not kind of worried that you did something wrong, why are you shutting them down? Actually, he thought he shut it down, but there are different ways to go on Twitter. So that is the case in Turkey. All the including president, prime minister, and all the ministers were kind of racing, competing with each other to get the best seat in our events in Turkey, like VIP seats. Okay, they were applying for months in advance because say in the summer we have an event that attracts millions of people all around the world. So not just Turkey, all around the world. And Mr. Erdogan, the prime minister, and all of those politicians were a big supporter of our movement before till December 17th. But after December 17th, they did not like our movement. But they didn't really have any good reasoning. They just said, when you are in corruption in a country, it's kind of tradition to blame the external power. That's what our prime minister is doing now. He's now blaming Gülen movement people or Dialog Institute people that we want to take over his position, but our organization doesn't have any political agenda. So I would say until 4 months ago, everybody was a big supporter, but now they are not supporting. But this is just for their self-interest. They said the police officers are kind of fans of Fethullah Gülen, the scholar that I mentioned, and they just kind of slandered us and those police officers. Say it is hard to imagine. Say there are a lot of people who like Martin Luther King here, right? And same in Turkey, they like Fethullah Gülen. But they said, if you like Fethullah Gülen, then we will not let you work here. It's just hard to understand what they are trying to do. But the reason they did not like for a while, within the last 4 months, I would say Gülen movement people, have never done anything illegal. Always, do the good thing. And we are active in 160 countries, by the way. So establish, good friendship with everybody in the world. And, our, teachings are, human rights, respect for human rights, democracy. And so they expected Gülen movement people to ignore or to disregard their illegal actions. That's why within the last 4 months they are not very positive about us.
You said there's a quote you mentioned the Prime Minister said. What was the quote about the Dialog Institute?
The alcohol?
Alcohol,
okay.
yeah.
It's now so much slander by the Prime Minister. Actually, this is actually cry of desperation of the Turkish Prime Minister. He has done really great things for Turkey, but within the last 3 years, too much power corrupts. And now just slandering our movement and he said, these people are organizing interfaith dialogue events in other countries and are reading the Quran, which we don't do, but just spoiling people's mind. He says these people are reading the Quran at first and then giving wines to people. And I mean, none of them are true. We don't read the Quran and we don't offer alcohol. So, but people in Turkey, not many of them have a broad experience. So in their mind, okay, those people always drink. So it's kind of normal to offer alcohol. So, and he got, he might be judged in the future because he used, hate language to a great number of people. Even he called different groups as just regular people as terrorist organization. Can you believe that? He's calling his own people And it's funny, his government is proved that he has done so much illegal things, but the people who, like the people that our prime minister is against, I mean, the prime minister couldn't prove anything that they have done something illegal. So that is, I think, but it's a long story, the answer. Any questions?
I fess up that I knew this was happening, but I didn't know how extensive it was. How does one get hooked up to a dialogue group? And how many did you say are existing in Lawrence right now?
Oh, in Lawrence,
Interfaith dialogue group.
we have one group. You mean the events or?
Don't you have smaller groups that meet and discuss?
Oh, yeah. Also, we have another group that meets at home.
Just a group? Just one group?
Yes.
And how large is it?
Well, actually, it's that group is a different group. Actually, we also with some kind of friends we gather and choose a topic and discuss on it. That's one group. But in terms of organizing the events, 11, 12 events a semester. But there is officially one group that is meeting.
And how are these announced so that we know that they're meeting?
It's the groups actually mainly word of mouth. So if you, I didn't bring any paper, but if you can, would like to join the group, you can leave your name and email address, and we can invite you to any event.
Well, I'd at least like to know when they're meeting, and if my schedule allows, I maybe can get my body there. And maybe even get my brain there.
Actually, the closest one is April 27th. April 27th.
Oh, yeah.
We gather in a house and in my place.
Uh-huh.
So it's April 27th. You would like.
I went to a writer's workshop, an interfaith writer's workshop that Carrie and Miriam
Yeah.
Goldberg organized. It was in Wichita.
Yeah.
Was that part of this group?
No. No. I heard of it. We are friends with Carrie.
Yeah.
Karen. Yeah. But different organizations.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's April 27th. That is, we meet at at home. So if you would like to join, sure. Yeah, usually 5 or 6 p.m. It's actually, if you have this flyer, my email address is down there, so you can email me.
Now that's the 29th.
Yeah, this is 29. This is a big event at Kansas Union Boredom. The one in my house is more like small group. It's 10 people, 6 to 10 people. It's small group.